I've covered Republican politics for over a decade now, and they've done a lot of things I didn't think was possible. But even I didn't have Spencer Pratt runs for mayor of Los Angeles on my bingo card. But that's because I was looking at this as a politics story, when really, it's not. My name is Katelyn Burns. I write about news and politics at my newsletter at burnsnotice.com. Go subscribe. 2010 was the pinnacle of reality shows. It was really hitting its zenith after like a decade and a half of development. And there was one scene in particular that still stays with me. Now, I was not a person who really watched a lot of reality TV shows, but my ex-wife did. And one of the shows that she watched was Laguna Beach and all the shenanigans there. And there was one scene where this blonde-haired little brat was incredibly angry with the co-stars of his show. He was talking to a friend of his, and he kept saying he was trying to control his anger using his crystals. He meant literal rocks that he had like on his person. And the clip was so funny because he was beet red in the face. And he was clearly furious. And he's going on and on about how these crystals are supposed to be protecting his anger. And it clearly wasn't working. And that's what his friend said. And it just cuts back to this blonde boy holding a rock against his face to like self-soothe. But that blonde boy that had this moment that stayed with me for decades was Spencer Pratt. And now the guy wants to be a mayor of the largest city in the country. And that scene is the only thing I remember from these shows. Yesterday, Spencer Pratt, it looks like he's going to win the primary for LA mayor. They don't have party primaries in California, but he finished in the top 2, so he's going to the general election runoff against incumbent mayor Karen Bass. But it got me thinking, so many of today's Republicans are just like former reality stars. It got me thinking, like, why does this happen? How did we get here? The reality of the modern Republican Party is that it's not really a political party at all. It's just the outgrowth of a massive attention-seeking apparatus that has been built up by right-wing media. The more extreme somebody is, the more airtime they get on the podcast circuit, on Fox News, on all of the little right-wing YouTube channels, and the higher their profile grows within the party, and the more power that they get. And Spencer Pratt is kind of like one of those guys. You could draw a direct line from the reality TV show The Hills, where Spencer Pratt first became known, to that stupid crystal scene, to the 2026 LA mayor's race. And that's not by accident. You know, Pratt in his campaign is going on and on about how Mayor Bass, who, to be frank with you, I'm not really a big fan of, about how Mayor Bass has been soft on crime, soft on homeless people.
Anybody with eyeballs in the state of California or Los Angeles knows that there has not been a reduction in one homeless person. Actually, there's been an increase of naked drug addict zombies in front of every kid's playground, every kid's school, every coffee shop. So that
he plays up every trope that conservatives have about big cities, and they put him on the news for it. Fox News doesn't care who it is that is telling their viewers that cities are big and scary and something to be afraid of. They'll put anybody on who will say it. The more extreme, the better. And Spencer Pratt has filled this perfectly. I actually got a text from my mom the other day where she's like, can you believe this stupid guy that's running for mayor in LA? She didn't know his name, never watched reality television. I knew exactly who she was talking about. It was Spencer Pratt. And he's going on and on about the homelessness problem in LA. But the thing with Pratt is he doesn't have to pretend to be a policy guy. He doesn't have to come up with any real solutions. He just needs to be able to rant and rave. And the cameras on the conservative media will point at him. That is the game. And the Republican Party, coming up with policies is not part of the job anymore. It's strictly getting attention. And the fact is, reality show guys are great at doing that. And this is where we are now. That brings to mind another guy who I can't stand. Sean Duffy. Now, he was one of these Real World guys. Real World was a reality show in the late 90s, early 2000s on MTV. But Like Pratt, he started on an MTV reality show. He went on Road Rules All Stars and Real World versus Road Rules later on in 2002, before he was appointed Attorney General in Ashland County in his home state of Wisconsin. And this guy, before he went into politics, he was mostly known for like getting drunk and dancing naked. Like, that's who the guy was. But went to law school at some point and got into politics. Got elected to Congress. He was in Congress for about 6 years before he stepped away to take care of his daughter's health. And he ended up at Fox Business News, where he caught the attention of our current president, Donald Trump, who, of course, is the ultimate reality TV show guy himself in the GOP. He is currently our U.S. Transportation Secretary. He's the guy responsible for making sure that planes land safely and for regulating the auto industry. But he's not doing his job right now. He's been touring the country, filming a reality show with his wife, who is also on those MTV reality shows, doing a great American road trip for America's 250th birthday. That's what he's been doing. Planes have been crashing. He's been touring the country, making a show. He's not making policy. He's just competing for attention. There's no shortage of weird guys in the Republican Party to talk about for this, but I really want to focus in on the reality TV show guys. And another one that came to mind for me was Herschel Walker. Now, this was a guy I remember from Tecmo Super Bowl, which was my favorite video game growing up. And he was basically the only reason you would ever play as the Minnesota Vikings. But after his football career, he has jumped from thing to thing here. Like, he was a U.S. bobsledder in the Olympics, and then he got involved with MMA. He got a black belt, apparently, and kind of eased his way into Republican politics over the course of his MMA career. Herschel Walker is a legend in his home state of Georgia, and he turned himself into a very valuable endorsement through a bunch of Georgia-related political races. And eventually he ran for Senate himself in 2022 against Raphael Warnock. And his campaign was almost completely about transgender athletes. Like, he didn't talk about anything else. And he came within like 1.5% of winning that election, despite the fact that he is completely unqualified to be a senator. Like all these guys. But here's the thing that gets missed in all of this. What's driving these guys' careers is the conservative attention economy. I mentioned earlier, you have YouTube channels, you have podcasts, you have manosphere stuff, you have Fox News above it all, you have all of the other Fox News knockoff news stations. It's a whole ecosphere that will give conservatives attention and gather audiences for conservative politicians to appeal to and to appear in front of. And there's no outside check. There's no fact checking it. It's once somebody gets attention, then the next show wants that person on, and it goes on up the food chain until eventually you end up with Donald Trump as your president. More cameras equals more political power. And that's a feature, not a bug, of the system. And it's not new. I mean, this is the party that elected Ronald Reagan, the actor, to the presidency. Like, they have always thrived on getting attention. But there's no equivalent of this in the Democratic Party. Like, Al Franken, maybe, the former SNL comedian who ended up in the Senate, maybe? None of this is new. But really, social media has ramped it up tremendously over the years. Trump didn't invent this system, he just perfected it. And he's bringing up all of the other weird little reality guys with him. Good policy is slow and boring and considered, and these guys don't have time for that. They need to get into office now. They need to shake things up. They need to go to ever further extremes to continue appealing to their same voters. Or they risk the next guy coming along and getting more attention and more cameras and eventually beating them in a primary. Worst of all, reality show politics doesn't fix housing. It doesn't make healthcare cheaper. It doesn't pave our roads. All it does is enrich the people who keep getting elected with it. Political debates have become these reality show mini games where conservative politicians go out of their way to have the demographic that they hate, trans people, homeless people, immigrants, voted off the island so that they could win the game against the competing reality TV show team, the Democrats. The goal isn't to win the argument, the goal is to get the undesirables voted off the island. So let's bring this back to Spencer Pratt. The man has a real chance at becoming the next mayor of Los Angeles. I don't think Democrats should discount him just because he's a reality TV star. He knows how to command attention and enough attention to get votes. And that's a very serious threat, not only to the Democratic politicians who are running, Mayor Bass, but also to LA's homeless population, trans population, immigrant population. Having a Republican in control of that city would have very serious consequences. Spencer Pratt knows this. That's his goal. He is motivating those people to come out and vote for him. He's more than happy to play the freak show as long as it gets cameras in his face and people talking. He wants people like my mom texting me asking about him, even though she can't stand him. The freak show isn't a failure of the Republican Party, it's the product. It's working exactly as designed. If you want more on this, I broke it down in my newsletter at burnsnotice.com. Go subscribe. I publish weekly. The link is in the description. See you over there.